So the best part about being a program that looks like they have everything in place that they're looking for is that you can be really, really picky about if you decide to add an additional piece, mainly for depth. And Oklahoma's doing that right now. But it looks like there's a visitor that's supposed to be in town today to talk ball in a position that we've already talked about a couple of visitors that have come through to keep that depth. But this guy's a difference. He has some ties to the current staff. And so we'll reveal that and watch a little film on that in just a second. Before we do that, welcome to Unfair Sports. I'm your host, Jay. Thank y'all for pulling up to the channel. All right. So Oklahoma's got a visitor, an all Conference USA selection in Chris Hardy, defensive lineman from Jacksonville State. He is supposedly in town, just wrapped up a visit with Ole Miss, and he's here as he's kind of looking for a new home. Now, with Chris, he's done a lot of visits over the last couple weeks since he hit the portal. Heard he was at USC, and he's been going all around trying to, decide on what's a good home from him. I think he visited Louisville. There's been a few places, but he was a 2023 first team All-Conference USA selection on the defensive line. Let's look at some of those measurables and kind of talk about them. So out of Jacksonville State, 5-year player. Chris comes in. He has 1 year left of eligibility, 6'2", about 270. So he's kind of like a hybrid, probably more so a 3-technique type player. Unless you want to get him up to 300 pounds to play there at the 0 with the Dejon Terry as well as the Dominic Williams. But for the most part, big thing with him is, man, he's got a lot of snaps. 48 career game appearances in his career. It's a lot of snaps, right? And last season, he finished with 60 total tackles, with 8.5 sacks, even had an interception. Can't beat that, right? That's actually pretty good. He returned it for 58 yards. And he's been deflecting passes at the line. But what jumped out to me with him is that I mentioned he has ties, right? Comes from Jacksonville State. Y'all know who else was from Jacksonville State, right? Exactly. Zach Alley, our defensive coordinator. The young guy was his defensive coordinator there. And scheme-wise, it appears Hardy works in the scheme that they play. I mean, he finished with 33 solos and 8.5 sacks with 60 totals on the 27 assists to go with that. He's obviously a player that fits what Oklahoma's trying to do there at the defensive line. Now, granted, again, we talked about this with Aiden Huntington as well as Brandon Lane, which Brandon Lane just committed to Louisville. Oklahoma's being very picky about who they're going to take in. And I think Hardy would be a good addition to that line because right now, veteran-wise, you got Dejon Terry, you got Dominic Williams. Devon Sears is up there in your age. And so for the team, you're trying to develop those young guys, the Grayson Haltons, the David Stones, the Jaden Jacksons of the world, Champ Sanders, your Marcus Strongs. You want to develop those younger guys, but again, Oklahoma's pickiness has been about bringing in guys that have 1 year of experience. They don't need nobody that's been here that's going to have a whole bunch of years left because they believe they have what they need in the room, but you still need to get them some experience. That and some additional guidance, right? Someone they can watch and try to pick up tips from and get better at, right? The coaching can do a lot, but peer coaching is also huge in the game because it's not about being out there in the field. Coaches can tell you what they see, but, some players can tell you what they feel. So I like the idea of Hardy. I mean, size-wise, he's not huge. We've talked about getting more 300-pounders, and some of you have come in the comments and said, hey, they can ball. It doesn't matter them being 300 pounds, right? And I agree, right? We've seen players like an Aaron Donald go out there and dominate and be sub 300 and just having strength and speed, which is critical. I think Aiden Huntington was one that was really big on that. So for Oklahoma, adding a guy that's logged over 162 career tackles, 46 and a half tackles for loss in their career, and 21 and a half sacks for their career is pretty huge. And that still does nothing but help, like I said, develop the room and develop what we're trying to do going forward and provide that additional depth. Going into SEC, you got to have extra bodies, baby. And that's something that I believe a player like Chris Hardy can add to it. Now, again, being that he played for Zach Alley, there's a chance that we could see him. But you're watching in this video, man, he be out there doing it, right? That man can play. He's like good, right? He be going. And it'd be going nonstop. And so for me, I'm wondering if Oklahoma decides that they are not only being, of course, they're being picky, but more so looking for guys that can come in and be more of a rotational, not a heavy contributor. And it's probably why they're waiting on really heavily pursuing the player that's in the portal. No one's jumped in the portal that's been overly eye-catching outside of a Dominic Williams, who we've seen do well at the Power 5, well, Power 4 now level. It's more so do we need to have it? No. Would we like to have it? Sure, but we want to do it on our terms. And so that's probably why you're seeing, I think Brandon was going for the opportunity to play more, and that makes sense why he went to Louisville. I think Aiden Huntington will be a similar situation. Even Chris Hardy. It's all about playing and developing. And so we'll see what it looks like. But visitors probably here. Hop in the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Love to hear from you all. I'm sensing this is a good opportunity. So we'll see if Oklahoma decides to capitalize on it. You made it this far, like the content, please hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Love for you to join this family, college football fans, talking OU football, college football in general, having a blast doing it. All right, more videos are coming down the line. Check them out here on the screen. And yeah, we'll chop it up soon. Peace.